welcome to Soul Searching with Christina and Louise. In this podcast, we walk side by side on the path to inner clarity, deepening our connection to the soul's voice, and uncovering the unique truth inside each of us. And today it's a very special episode because we have a guest, Cecile, with us, who works with breathwork.
Yep, correct.
Yes, and we're so happy to have you here.
Thank
Uh,
you. Very happy to be here as well.
yeah, so Cecile, you and I met about almost exactly 1 year ago now,
Mm-hmm.
where you were one of the hostess on a retreat that I was attending.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that I was very captivated by your breathwork sessions and
Oh,
very impressed with how you led the sessions. So we're super excited to have you here today.
well, thank you for saying that. Thank you. It was a very beautiful weekend.
It really was. Yeah. But would you like to start with telling us a bit about your background and what brought you to breathwork in the first place?
Of course. My name is Cecilia. You can call me Cecilia or Cecile. I answer to all those names. I live in Norway. I'm 53 years old. I live by myself with two teenagers. And I basically have three jobs. I work full time with human relations in a company here. But I also have breathwork classes at two gyms, two studios here in Oslo, both fitness classes and breathwork actually. And I also do online sessions and retreats. Sometimes I do events. I also have sometimes mindfulness and breathwork sessions as part of leadership programs where I work in the company for upcoming leaders that need to, learn how to connect with themselves really and take care of themselves. Actually, back in the 90s, I was an aerobics instructor with hot pants and pink leg warmers and all that. And physical exercise has always meant a lot to me. It's something that I do preferably 5, 6, 7 times a week, actually. I spend much time on that and on nutrition and really how to optimize how I feel, optimize how my body is doing, what is the best way for me to live. I'm not into kind of life hacks or quick fixes. I really work on finding long-lasting habits that really work for me and that I enjoy doing. Because I don't believe in doing anything just because someone tells you to do it. I really want to do something because it means something for me and to find a reason to do things for myself. And breath work, that was really that was a very curious start because I was listening to a podcast on my terrace at my house in the early summer of 2023. And that podcast was about breathwork. That was an interview with John Yoduya, who started Hale Center in Stockholm. I had never heard of breathwork before. It was completely new to me. And it was like something just said to me that, okay, this is you. This is something that you're going to do. And, I just knew that this is my cue. This is my thing. And I booked an online session there. And then I also booked my flight to Stockholm in July, the same year, that summer. And I just went there by myself for the weekend, Friday to Sunday, at Hale Center and trying breathwork for the first time in my life. And in September that year, I had an email from them asking if I would like to join their trainee program. And I'm like, yep, this is me. So I started my first trainee program, a certification as a breath guide then, level 1 breath guide. After that, I have also done the athletic breath certification. So I'm also an athletic breath coach. I did that this spring. I was done in June with that one. And now I also started certification number 3. So I after doing this one, I will also be able to participate in training with others becoming breath guides, breath coaches. So it's really, really fascinating for me. It's really the thing that I guess is part of my life every day, except for my kids, of course. It's something that is a very important part of my life all the time. Yeah.
Wow, you've been very busy, I hear.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mm.
And what was it about like breathwork that really like captivated you, that made you like, yes, this is, I really need to continue with this?
Yeah. I guess the first time I tried it in 2023, I was in a period of deep transition after some really heavy years. Mm, after it was right after COVID, and both my parents had died, and I lost a really good friend, and we had had a natural disaster here where I live, and then of course the divorce and everything. And I guess I was trying to outrun everything, outrun myself, trying to escape it because it was so heavy, it was so much. It was too much hurt, too much grief that I wasn't able to face it. And during those first sessions for me, it was a way to finally meet myself in all of that. And it was really, really intense. It's like when you have this closet that you just stuff everything in it and you never open the door. And then that one day you decide to open the door and everything just falls out and buries you almost. I guess that was kind of that feeling I had at the start. Because I've been shutting out everything for so long. And that first weekend in Stockholm at Hale, I think I walked around for about 8 hours just by myself. After one of the sessions, just walked around in Stockholm, just thinking, feeling, thinking, and feeling. And after that, I gradually got through that wave or that tsunami feeling. And then it kind of changed a bit for me because after I had gone through that first transition with everything coming up and processing that, it has become the one way that I keep in touch with myself. It's where I go when I need to find courage in myself to do things. It's where I go when I need a touchdown with me, when I need ideas, when I need to check in with my own boundaries, how I'm really feeling. It's where I get new insights, actually. It's like sometimes it's almost like downloads of insights coming. And it really opens up for me to what is true for me, what is my boundaries. It's really where I find the courage to do everything that I want to do, even if it's really, really scary. And in that, in becoming more true to myself, I also actually believe that it, in many ways, also makes me a better person to the people that I love because I feel so much better with myself and I am much more at peace with me and myself. And in that, I can also be a much better person for my kids and for friends and for my colleagues and for everybody around me. So I guess that is what it means to me in my everyday life. It's almost like it's where I am in the eye of the storm when everything is chaos around me. I have this place where I can just really focus and find peace and calm and courage and fire and everything that I need. So, yeah.
Wow. I get so inspired just sitting and listening to you, everything that you're describing. It's truly amazing.
Mm.
Um, I told you earlier that I have never actually really done a full breathwork session, so maybe it's my sign that I need to book one with you after this. But could you describe maybe a little bit of your practices of how, like, what does your routine look like and how do you incorporate breathwork in your like personal everyday life?
Yeah. I I don't have anyone here to actually guide me live. I don't have anyone to facilitate for me here. So what I do is, if I want a live session, I go to yoga. I do yoga a lot and then I practice my breathwork things in that class just to be able to be live in another class. But I do online classes, also recorded classes. I get a lot from Hale Center, of course. I'm able to log on to what they can offer, and that's really, really important and really beautiful for me. And I have some shorter practices, or you know, I guess I do it like sometimes in the morning. I always do my journal in the morning, and then it's also a very natural thing for me to just sit down for a few minutes and just check in and breathe. And that doesn't have to be like a session or anything. It's just me checking in with myself and connecting to my breath that way. That doesn't have to take more than a couple of minutes. And I'm also, of course, in my workouts, I'm always, following my breath and working with my breath to optimize my workouts. That is also part of it for me. Or if at work I'm really stressed out, or if I'm going into some kind of situation where I feel really out of my own comfort zone, then my breath is always the thing that I go to find my peace and find my courage. And I actually had a very powerful experience yesterday that I can tell you about. It was really about facing my fears, really intense. I was at a ceremony at one of the studios I work at, and I didn't know what we were going to do, but I had kind of a visual about it on beforehand, and I knew that okay, if this is what comes up, then I know that this is my time to do this, and that was about standing on nail boards, standing on top of nail boards, boards with nails on them. I'd never done that before, and I was really, really, really scared. And yesterday I did that not only once but twice, and it kind of it was very intense, and I was like shaking at the start, and then feeling how I really could embody my own practice in using my breath and calming myself down, and really feeling how my tense muscles just gradually relaxed, and my pulse, my heart rate just slow down, and I could step onto those boards and I could stand there in spite of the pain and in spite of my fear and just close my eyes and focus on my breathing. That was that was very, very powerful for me. Yeah. But you don't have to do that every day.
Wow, that's very cool.
Mm,
And also very powerful, as you said.
mm.
Does like I guess that breath work, like how you were able to calm yourself, is that also a way to like regulate your nervous system?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Your breath is always talking with your nervous system. Your breath is stimulating your nervous system 24 hours a day, because it's connected to it, directly connected to it. And to oversimplify it a bit, you could say that we have kind of two parts of the nervous system. One is called the sympathetic part, which is the one that activates you. It's what we call the fight or flight part of it. And then there's the parasympathetic part, which is the one that will help you relax and have your pulse down, which we call like the rest, digest, and heal part. And to put it simply, it's like when you breathe in, you're activating the sympathetic part, the one that will get you going. And when you breathe out, that's when you activate the parasympathetic part, the one that slows you down and helps you rest. So it's like your inhales are like the gas pedal, and your exhales are like the brake pedal of your body. Very simplified, of course, but that's a good starting point to how to think about it. And but your breath is like it's almost as if it's both biology and behavior, because it's both automatic, but you can also take control of it. It's like your body's just breathing by itself, and you don't have to do anything to You don't have to decide that you're going to breathe because your body will do it. But you can also take control of it. And that's the really cool part. Your breath is habitual in the way that it is a learned habit through all of your life, through everything that you experience, through triggers that might come up, and it's also it's influenced by everything that you experience throughout your life, and through that your breath will be some kind of behavior that is unique for you. Your breath is very unique for you because of everything that you experience. Um, and at the same time, it's also something that it's trainable, that you can train and become aware of and conscious of and use consciously and take control of it in order to, use it for the best of your own well-being, to enhance your well-being in different kinds of ways. It's I usually call it a remote control for your body. You can use it to work yourself up, or you can use it to calm yourself down. And when it comes to regulating your nervous system, I think this is my personal opinion, but for me, regulating the nervous system is not about shutting out emotions. It's not about down regulating. It's more for me about allowing all emotions and allowing reactions, but still know that you will survive. You will get through it, and that is where the breath is a very powerful tool to use. Allowing it and knowing that you will still survive, you will still be there when you get through it on the other side. And then, of course, sometimes you just really need to calm down. If you're really, really upset and you're going into an important meeting and doing a presentation at work, then of course it's really gold to be able to calm yourself down with your breath, and then you can just go feel all those emotions later. But in the big picture, I think it's emotional strength is about allowing and still knowing that you will survive. Yeah, that is nervous system regulation for me in my world.
I'm a little bit curious because you mentioned earlier that you're someone who also loves to work out and that
Mm-hmm.
you also use that together with the breath. And I
Yeah.
think very often we hear and we associate like breath work with regulating the nervous system. But
Mm-hmm.
that is such an interesting thing. And I personally love to work out and especially strength training, but
Mm-hmm.
I've never really heard about that connection. So could you tell me a little bit more about that connection between
Yeah.
strength training and
Yeah.
using the breath and the
Yes.
benefits?
Absolutely. Yeah, in strength training, well, your diaphragm, which is your primary breathing muscle, it's a huge muscle, almost like an umbrella, or some call it like a dome or a sail, dome-shaped muscle. It has three main functions. Of course, breathing, also works in digestion, but is also a very important stabilizer. Also, it helps stabilize your body. So when we're talking about your core muscles, your diaphragm is actually a very important part of that. So when you do strength training, finding what we call the intra-abdominal pressure. It's like using your breath to stabilize your body to be able to handle the load in strength training. It's also a very good way to, when you learn to breathe with your body when you're working out, it is also a very good way to optimize the oxygen uptake in your body, both in endurance, but also having your muscles work at their best while you're working out. If it's running or if it's strength training or whatever you feel like doing, you can learn to work with your breath and use it to optimize your workouts so that you can go on for longer. You can work with your lactic acid treasure, not treasure, what threshold. You can work with, you have a lot of, sometimes you can have a lot of things coming up, or at least for me, when I go into really high intensity activity, I sometimes feel a bit panicky that I can't breathe, and learning how to take control of my breathing in that, to have my body handle more and to be able to do more. Yeah, it's very fascinating, very fascinating. So I have, I usually, I train my son sometimes, he's 16, and he told me that when he started focusing on his breath while doing his strength workout, he feels that he can lift a lot more as well. He's much more focused into what he's doing and he can lift more and he can go further than if his head is like everywhere else. Yeah.
Oh, this is so interesting and fascinating.
I know. I totally agree.
Now I think I know what Christina will experiment with the next time she goes to the gym.
Yes, definitely.
Mm.
Yeah, but I have also a follow-up question. I don't know if you can answer it, but for me, I often find myself when I like work out at the gym, I
Mhm.
find it quite hard to like breathe during like lifting weights or whatever I'm doing. I find myself often like holding my breath.
Mhm.
Do you have like a spontaneous thought about that?
Actually, it's probably a very natural thing for you to do. If you know, if you're going to do a squat, you breathe in, then you hold your breath to stabilize, and that's good because that's when you set that pressure in your core, and then you go down and you hold your breath while you're really doing that movement, and then you come up again, and then you exhale, and then you inhale again, hold your breath, do the exercise, and then come up again. So if you get that natural flow for you, then holding your breath in while doing that exercise, it's okay as long as you remember to breathe in between, of course.
Oh, great. That makes me
Yeah.
feel good.
Yeah. So don't worry about that. If you're doing it while you're lifting and while you're having heavy load, then that holding is actually where you're kind of, it's almost like you're setting it's a container or kind of like you're having a belt or um, it's easier to explain it when I can show you in real life, but it's, you know, you have this some people actually wear a belt when they're lifting heavy weights. Yeah, and it's the same thing actually. You're breathing into that belt and you're setting that pressure, you're setting that container that can hold you, stabilize you, and then you come up and then you exhale and then you breathe in again. Yeah.
Mm. Is there a difference in if you breathe out through the mouth or the nose when you're exercising?
Yes, we all, well, we usually say that we're supposed to breathe through your nose for the most part of the day, but you need your mouth also because sometimes you need a lot of air in a short time. And breathing through your nose will help your oxygen uptake or help your muscles work better. But it's if you're not used to just breathing through your nose, then it's going to take some time to adjust to that. If you start working on it consciously in your workouts, then it usually takes like 8 to 10 weeks or so to get across that limit or across that threshold. And usually it feels like at the start you're like, oh, I can't breathe, I can't get enough air, and then it get worse and worse and worse, and just it's often like suddenly you're just tipping and that tipping point, and then oh, you're just flowing, and then you're breathing through your nose. So it's something that's trainable. If it feels really stressful to just breathe through your nose, then I don't think I would have done it like pushing myself into it like really hard because it can be too much stress or it doesn't feel good. So it's okay to just take it gradually and slowly try to adjust to it. But for me, I do most of my workouts breathing through my nose unless I'm clogged up or anything. And I feel that my my body works a lot better when I do that. My oxygen uptake is better. When I'm at really high intensities, like in running or on my spin bike, then I switch also from between mouth and nose. I can go nose all the way up to, you know, like zone 5. I can do a short while, but not all the time. So we also need the mouth breathing, of course. But for me, breathing through my nose in strength training has really also made it better for me. And yeah, and I think a lot of people will have that experience as well. But it's okay to train it to do it gradually. Mm.
Okay, so then I know what I will practice.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, this reminded me from the breathwork class you were facilitating, how do you say it, or hosting
Mm.
on the retreat, because I remember being a bit nervous before the
Mhm.
first class because I've had I've only had like two experiences of breathwork before, and one of them had been like very intense, and the
Mhm.
person that were like hosting that wasn't very clear about it's important to like even if there's a guide, you always also have to like guide yourself. And
Mhm.
you are very good at explaining this, like, no, like there's no pressure to push yourself and
Mm.
everything like that. And
Mm.
you were such a safe guide, and I really, really appreciated your classes.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I think actually that's the most important thing in guiding a class is that people feel safe. And breathwork isn't supposed to be uncomfortable. It's not supposed to be scary. It's not supposed to be painful. And I always say that if you want to push yourself, like, sometimes when you do a workout, you can push yourself through one extra set or one extra repetition. But and that's okay if you're okay with pushing yourself. But at any point, if you feel uncomfortable or if something feels wrong when you're doing it, when you feel that you're crossing your own boundaries in some way, then always, always, always listen to yourself. No matter what the guide is saying or what the coach is saying or what the trainer is saying, always listen to your own boundaries. That's the most important thing ever. Mm.
Yes, and I think it's so important, especially I think I don't know how it is about you, but I know that both me and Christina have been struggling a lot bit about this being the good girl and like always have
Mm.
to do everything so good and like yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
then yeah, and then it's so easy to just like cross your own boundaries because you feel like you need to live up to yeah, like doing the right thing even though it isn't
Mm.
right for you. Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
So,
And that is kind of the beauty and the magic of breathwork for me because it's all about listening in. It's all
mm,
about listening to yourself, connecting to yourself. You're not doing breathwork for someone else. You're not doing breathwork for me or for the guide or for your neighbor or anyone. You're just doing it for yourself. And it's all about you and your breath. And your breath is, as I said, unique for you. So nobody can tell you how you feel. Nobody can dictate you. Nobody can say that this is right or this is wrong. It's all about connecting to yourself and listening to yourself every time. Mm.
That is a really beautiful reminder.
Mm.
And I'm thinking it's also a good reminder for, yeah, for everyone who's listening, but also for people who's just like starting out
Mm.
to have that with them as they're starting out.
Mm.
I wanted to ask because I'm completely new to breath work. What would you like recommend when it comes to being a beginner? Where do you start,
Mm.
and how often should you practice it?
One of my trainers always say that everywhere and anywhere is a good way or a perfect place to breathe. So it doesn't always have to be like a big session or anything, but just 5 minutes a day if you have practice that is working for you. So then you can do that as often as you feel like, basically. When it comes to how to start, I always have introduction classes or sessions where I spend at least 15, maybe even 20 minutes explaining everything that's going on with the nervous system and the technique and the structure, everything that can come up of sensations, emotions, all the physiology going on that will also have you feel physical sensations in your body. And if you don't know that those are coming up, then it can be really scary because you have no idea what's going on. And always start slow, always checking in with yourself if it feels, am I okay with this or is this too much? Take a break if you need it. Just pause, go back to your own natural breathing. In the introduction classes that I do, I usually have a technique called the double inhale sigh relief, which means that we're breathing in twice and through the nose, first to the belly and then the chest, and then sighing it out through the mouth. And that sigh is what we call the physiological sigh that your body will do by itself during the day without you being conscious of it. It just does, but it does it by itself. And it's a really good cue for your brain that you're safe. It's okay to relax. It's a very good thing, you know, that that sigh that comes sometimes, right? Yeah. It's called circular breathing. It can be a very, very powerful, intense technique, but it's also a very good way for many people to just start tapping into feeling the breath. But you're always in control of it. And at the same time, you can also feel the power and the potential of your breath in that, in doing it. But always practice listening to yourself. Always, you can get a bit dizzy, so always staying in a safe place. Like I prefer lying down, but you can also sit as long as you're safe. Never do breath work in water, near water, or while driving anything. I always say this in my sessions. Never, while operating vehicles. And also, there are some what do you call that? Contraindications. Like being aware if you're pregnant, or if you have epilepsy or a heart condition, or if you have panic or anxiety attacks, or people with strong asthma, then really check with the doctor before going into deep breath work, and try to stay with a comfortable pace, not pushing yourself up in any high pace breathing or anything. Just checking in, and take a check-in with the doctor before doing that. But apart from that, your breath is always there, so explore it and use it for what it's worth.
That's really nice. I am looking forward to really digging into this and
Yeah.
explore my breath even more.
Yeah, I feel like I have like I don't know, it feels like hearing you speak about the breath and how connected it is with like our nervous system and everything. It feels like I'm getting more curious and like appreciating the function more than I have before. It's like I can feel that my connection to my breath is deepening only by like listening to you and your knowledge.
Oh, that's nice. I think just becoming aware of it, just starting to notice it during the day. You don't have to control it. Just notice, how is my breath now in this situation? How am I breathing when this emotion come up? How am I breathing in this situation? It's really, really a good way it's a good cue to how your body is reacting and what your brain is doing. And
Yeah,
yeah, it really is. Just becoming aware of it is really a good first step.
it's very interesting. I'm to share something like a bit personal about me.
Mm.
I always felt that I had kind of like I don't know, that my relationship to like the breath function wasn't as good because like for many years I only breathed like up here in the chest
Mm.
and couldn't go like deep into the belly.
Mm.
And it really hit me. I think it was 2 years ago when I was seeking help because of like pain in my shoulder actually, and going to some kind of like holistic health worker. And she was also she works with like the body, and she gave me like physical exercises and like finding out why does my shoulder hurt. But she was also very like into like energetics and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
And she was like, but your nervous system is super like triggered, and I
Mm.
think that you have been stuck in freeze for a long
Mm.
time, and it's
Mm.
very clear on how your breath is behaving.
Yep. Mm.
um, yeah, and I've heard about breathwork for I heard about it for like a long time before I tried it the first time, and I felt so much like resistance to it
Mm.
for so many years. And I think it is because, my like kind of complicated relationship to my breath.
Mm.
But then the first time I had a class, it was on like a new moon circle thing I was attending, and I didn't know that there was going to be breathwork
Mm.
there.
Mm. Mm.
But it
Mm.
was actually quite interesting. And
Mm.
then still felt like a bit skeptical about it. But then when I had a session with you, it was just like, wow, now I'm very curious and can really like appreciate it.
Oh,
And
good. Oh.
yeah, and I feel like it feels so good that it feels like I'm like really shifting.
Mm.
The relationship to my breath. It makes me
Oh.
very happy. I'm sitting here smiling.
That makes me very happy as well. Oh, that's wonderful. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it is because you know, breathwork can be so many things. It can be really, really calm, relaxing, just really calming down, finding your sleep for that matter. And it can be really intense, really athletic, gear breathing, high intensity, or releasing a lot, and everything in between. So yeah, it's always there, and it's a very, very powerful tool. Mm.
Yeah. So I'm a bit curious if you feel comfortable sharing. I would be very curious to hear if you had an experience at some point during a session that was like extra powerful and really like stuck
Mm.
with you.
Yeah, I during the years now, I've had a lot of very powerful experiences. As I said, it's a way for me to connect with me, and that also means that some really heavy stuff can come up. It's where I can process fear and grief and a lot of negative things, and that usually means a lot of tears, a lot of things coming up. I've experienced my body really, shaking to release tension in my muscles also. But I think maybe one of the most, well, there's like two parts of it for me. It's the one where I lie down and I do the kind of breath work that will really help me connect to my mental state and go deep into what is going on in my mind and my emotions. Then I can have some almost like lightning insights, and I can have like words just popping up in my head, like, okay, so this is what I'm looking for. It's like my creativity is like just opening up. Um, but I also have a very powerful experience, which is probably not something that people will think of as a breath work session, because it was on a spin bike, but it was me consciously working with my breath. I decided to go into a situation where I knew that I would be extremely triggered because I was in a traffic accident on a bike in my youth, many years in my 20s. And the driver that hit me, he just drove off. So I was like in the middle of some really heavy traffic. I was okay after, but it was so scary, and I've been just scared to death to go on a bike since then. I hated bikes my whole life after that. And when I go on a bike outside in traffic, I just totally panic. I'm like, I'm sure I'm going to die. Really, I'm certain I'm going to die. And I hear cars coming back behind me, and there's no car there, but I can still hear it, you know? And I am really scared. And so I decided to go on a spin bike because that's safer all by myself in the spinning room. This was during my athletic breath certification. And I decided to go all in on that bike, breathe myself into a panic, using my breath to really panic myself out, and then taking myself down again, also using my breath. And that, I think, is one of the most powerful, not like breathwork sessions, but ways to work with my breath. And I cried and I was angry. I think if there was someone next to me there, I would have punched them because I was so mad. There was so much frustration coming out. and sweating and everything, just pure chaos. And I was probably making a lot of sounds, and it's a good thing that I was alone. A lot of things coming out, but just that feeling of being able to take control of my breath and feeling how my body relaxed slowly, even in high intensity, still really high intensity. I could slowly, slowly, slowly let go of that frustration and feel safe in a situation where I would have panicked. Really, yeah. So maybe not your usual kind of breathwork session, but still a very powerful experience using my breath like that. Very
Wow.
intense. Yeah.
I think that is, yeah, really interesting to hear and listen to. I think also because I've suffered from a lot of panic attacks,
Mm,
and it's almost like you build up that fear from getting into that state of panic.
mm,
Um, so to just hear that you had the ability to take control over the situation using your breath,
mm,
I think that really like stuck with me because that means when I'm close to a panic attack, if I just learn how to really like calm myself down, I have nothing to fear because that's just,
mm,
that's not gonna last forever.
mm. Exactly.
Yeah.
You absolutely can. And it's okay to take it gradually. It's okay to not go all in, on the first day. Probably it's wise to just do it gradually, little by little.
Hmm.
But it's absolutely possible. Yes. Mm.
That's really reassuring and
Yeah.
really nice to hear.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah. I just sitting here and feeling, yeah, like that was super brave of you to do that. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm glad I was alone in there though. I probably looked really crazy, but it worked. So,
Yeah, that's what matters.
no, exactly, exactly.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I have when I've done breath work, I feel like it's seldom I get into like the more heavy, like heavy stuff. For me, it has, for the most parts, just getting me into a very like comfortable state actually, and feeling happy and feeling good. I think there was like some time that I got into a very like I got in touch with a lot of fears.
Hmm.
But for me, it has most times been just making me feel very like comfortable and happy actually.
Mm, mm. Yeah, breath work will also help you release all those happy hormones,
Mm.
which is it's kind of like that natural happy pill that actually works. It's just
Yeah.
your own body doing it. Yeah. Mm. So that happy feeling is, I call that the bliss place for me.
Oh, yeah, beautiful. The bliss
Hmm.
place. Yeah.
For me, it is. Yeah,
Mm.
Mm.
Hmm.
But sometimes going into really heavy breath work can, it is a workout for your breathing muscles as well. So sometimes, yeah, you have to make a decision that, okay, I'm going to do the work. And you start out and like you're like, oh, this is heavy. Oh, I don't want to do this. And it takes 5-10 minutes before you kind of get into it. It's like when you do another workout, you don't really want to do it, but you should. And finding that balance of not pushing, and but still doing it because it's good for you, and letting yourself also be in that resistance mode, or that resistance place at the start, and then gradually getting into it. That is also part of it. It's okay to allow that state also. It doesn't always have to be just perfect bliss and calm and peace, and it's because it is a work that needs to be done. You need to do the work yourself. Yes.
Yeah, I remember like this circulating breathing. I
Mm,
thought it was super heavy for the
mm,
lungs or the diaphragm or
mm,
whatever, wherever you feel like,
mm.
yeah. And then you really also get conscious of like, wait, this is a muscle and
Yep.
it also needs to like, get trained, or how do you say it?
Yes, it
Yeah.
needs, it needs to be trained. It needs to be trained.
Yeah.
You can warm up like you warm up any other kind of muscle, and it needs to be trained. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think my favorite parts during the classes I've attended, because I so recognize myself in this, like, you just have to like do it just as you're like every day, perhaps you're not super pumped to go out and run if you feel like just relaxing instead, but it's always worth it afterwards.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you just need to like, okay, come on, let's
Yeah.
do it. Yeah. And
And then
then for me, it has been so rewarding when you come to the part where you are able to, where you get guided in holding your breath. For me, that's the best part of every session.
oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, I love that as well. I know a lot of people feel a huge resistance to that, which of course is not it's not weird at all because holding your breath is not a natural thing for us to do. It's a stressful situation for the body, but it is a very good way to train yourself into resting in the stillness and the pause, kind of. And since holding your breath is a stressor for your body and your mind, being able to relax and stay calm in that situation is a very good way to train your stress resilience as well. To be able to hold yourself in a stressful situation and still stay calm. And the real trick in holding your breath is really just relaxing, staying calm. Yeah, focusing just really not stressing about holding your breath, but just almost I just almost fade away. I'm just focusing, inwards and just really not thinking about holding my breath, just being in that stillness. I think that is,
Wow.
yeah. But most people haven't experienced that, of course, because that's not something that we usually do. But when you kind of start experiencing that calmness and that peacefulness in it, and not everybody feels that, that can also be like a gradual step-by-step adjustment, not to go into the long heavy breath holds at the start, but just start with soft ones, short ones, just to feel how am I reacting to this, and noticing everything that goes on when you do it, what happens in my body, what happens with my thoughts, is emotions coming up, how am I reacting, and just allowing all of that, not trying to push it away, but let it be what it is. Just noticing and learning from there, and just gradually, step by step, training your yourself to be able to be calm in a stressful situation like that.
That's very interesting.
Yep, it
Yeah.
is.
Mm. Yeah, and also I remember the first time when the like guide told us to, okay, the first breath hold is going to be for like 30 seconds, or if it was 1 minute, and then we will go up to like 2 minutes. And I was just like, I am never gonna be able to hold my breath for 2 minutes. I don't know if I can make 1 minute. But then it actually worked. And
Yep,
I was
yep.
so like, what? It
Mm,
was so cool.
yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
I really enjoyed that part
Mm,
actually.
mm,
For me, I think like, yeah, that makes me, I think my mind is very still during those, like during the whole breath work. I think
mm,
that it's very easy to just like, yeah, the thoughts aren't coming and going as much as it can do otherwise. For me, it's
mm.
been very nice way to just be still, as you
Yeah,
said, just
yeah,
be still. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's so nice. And it's funny how the body adjusts so fast to breath holds. I do breath holds in, lying down in a session, but I also work with holding my breath in physical exercise, like in walking or biking or actually doing squats and lunges and burpees. It's heavy. That isn't calm at all. But it is absolutely trainable, and your body will adjust really, really fast, which is very fascinating, because we're thinking that we don't get enough oxygen, but your blood has a lot of oxygen already. You have way more oxygen that you really need. So in holding your breath like that is also about training your body to actually use the oxygen that's in your blood. So that the feeling when you are holding your breath and you feel that you need to breathe, that is actually your CO2 levels building up. It's not that you don't have enough oxygen. It's you're just feeling the CO2 level building up in your body, and CO2 is the waste that comes when your muscles are using the oxygen, producing energy. Then CO2 is the waste coming from that. But we also need a certain level of CO2 in the blood in order for our cells and our muscles to pick up the oxygen. That's the physiology, some of the physiology, biochemistry in this. I'm not going any more into that, but we need also CO2 in the blood. And just shortly coming back to the nose mouth question here, when you breathe through your mouth out like this, you lose more CO2 than if you're breathing through your nose. And sometimes when you breathe heavily out through your mouth, you can lose a lot of CO2, meaning that your body won't be able to pick up enough oxygen. Even if there's enough in your blood, your body isn't using it. And that's when you can sometimes become dizzy. You can have like tingling, numbing feeling. That's the sensations that usually will come up in a breathwork session as well, when we're sighing and doing especially maybe circular breathing. And that is why also one of the reasons why nose breathing, as much as you're able to, is also good for you, because it means that your body is working a lot more with using the oxygen that's actually in your blood, and it's keeping the balance, CO2 and oxygen balance, where it should be in your body, in your blood. So there's a lot of things going on here all the time.
But it's so interesting. It's such a like interesting topic, and like understanding how the body and the breath works.
Yep.
It's really interesting, and I think I could sit here and listen forever.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Cecilia. I feel like I've learned so much, and as I said before, really like deepened my connection to my own breath. I'm super excited to like, yeah, incorporate this more conscious breathing, like finding my own little routine or practice
Yeah.
for it now.
Good. Good. That's the
Yeah,
most important thing. Find what works for you. Absolutely.
and do you have like do you have like some kind of like simple exercise for us and the listeners that we could like try ourselves at home in order to connect with our breath?
Absolutely. My favorite is not a breath work like in taking control in some kind of conscious breath work out in a way. It's called breath awareness, which is more about observing your breath. It's something that you can really do anywhere, everywhere, whenever you feel like it. And for me, and I know for many people, it's a really good way to calm down and to focus when you're stressed. You can do it in the morning if you're having you have a day when a lot of things are going on. Then it's a perfect way to just start your day by landing a bit and checking in with yourself. Or if you need to wind down before going to bed, before sleep, or just going into somewhere. Sometimes you need to focus, or just yeah, finding your own place here and now, and just connecting a bit to yourself. And do we have time if I can just guide you through a few minutes of it? Do we have time for that? Yeah, with
Yes.
no music, but
Yes, please.
yeah. Um, if you just start by finding a comfortable place to sit, or you can also lie down, of course, if you want to. And either close your eyes or lower your gaze, whatever feels comfortable. And see if you, for just a short while, can let go of the world outside and slowly turning your gaze, your focus inwards to yourself and what's going on inside of you. And gradually also start to notice your breath without taking control of it. just stepping away from control for a while, if you can do that. Not changing anything. And see if you can just notice your breath. Letting your body breathe the way it wants to. Letting it flow the way it wants to. And maybe noticing, is your breath warm right now or is it cold? Is it fast or is it slow? Maybe it's also slowing down, just breath by breath. And can you notice where you're breathing? Are you breathing through your nose or your mouth? Or maybe both? Are you breathing in your chest or all the way into your belly? Is it deep or shallow? And does it have a sound to it? Or is it just silent, just quiet? See if you can follow your breath going in through your nose or your mouth. Following it down into your body. Into your lungs. Maybe you can also just feel that rising, sinking movement of your belly with the air going in and going out. And all the while, just letting your breath flow. There's nothing wrong and there's nothing right. It just is, and that's perfect. And sometimes your mind will start running, and that's okay as well. If that happens, then see if you can also just notice your thoughts. And you don't have to change them, you don't have to judge them. Just let them be what they are and let them pass. And if there's anything calling for your attention in your body, maybe some sensations, also just observing them. You don't have to change it. You can just let it be. Knowing that you can always, always return your focus to your breath. Again and again. It's always there for you. Every inhale and every exhale. And then from there, slowly, slowly coming back to yourself again, noticing the room around you. Maybe if you feel like it, take a deep breath in and letting go with a good sigh. And when you're ready, coming back, opening your eyes gradually. And returning back here again. That's breath awareness.
Thank you. Yeah, it was lovely. I really felt that I got super calm and yeah, relaxed.
Mm. Yeah, you can feel how the energy is just like shifting completely by such a like simple practice, but
Mm,
it does
mm.
wonders.
Yeah, and it's it's not you don't need anything to do it. You can just do it anywhere and everywhere, and it's all about noticing. Sometimes it's difficult to let go of that control because once you say let go of control, then you start controlling. But allowing that as well. That okay, I feel it's difficult to let go of control, but then that's something that you're observing as well, and yeah, and let that be also the whole
Mm,
part of it. Yeah.
beautiful. It's like a way of practicing acceptance.
Mm, mm, mm. Awareness and acceptance.
Yeah.
And, awareness is always step one. Whenever you want to learn something or change something, and yeah, awareness always step one.
Yeah, that's so true.
Mm.
Mm.
Thank you so much for being with us today, Cecile.
Mm. Thank you for having me.
It was our pleasure, really. And I'm thinking if someone who listens to this would like to get in touch with you,
Mhm.
how do they do that?
Well, I have my own web page, and I'm also on Instagram under my name. Can we link to that in the yeah, yeah.
Yes, of course.
Then we can do that. So I have my Instagram account is open, so you always feel free to send me a DM. As I said, I do both on-site and online coaching, one-on-one coaching, and retreats, and whatever you need. Just send me a DM message, and I will get back to you, and we'll find out how I can help you and what you need. And the first coaching conversation with me is always free to find out what it is that you actually need. So it's more about me listening and you talking. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Beautiful.
wonderful.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for being here today and for everything that you shared. It's been so nice to sit and listening and understanding everything more. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna dig in more to breath work and maybe I will reach out to you as well after this.
Please do. Please do. Thank you so much for a beautiful conversation.
Ah, thank you. And thank you to everyone who has listened to this episode. If you would like to connect with us further, or if you have any comments or thoughts that has awakened during this session today, then you can comment in the comment section if you're listening on YouTube. Otherwise, you can also send an email on soulsearching@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram, Louise at Kraftkallan and Christina at Wildbeing. Thank you for listening.